And that wraps up that book. Everything seems so beautiful. And, over the past couple of weeks, I've been traveling a bunch and meeting a lot of different people, business people, workers, police and firefighters and active duty military and veterans, just people. And we people, we get caught up in all kinds of chaos and mayhem. Mayhem from the past. We get caught up in that about what we should have done. Or what we should have left undone. And we feel this pressure about the future, about what we should do or what we shouldn't do or where we're going and how we should get there. And I get that. I get that. I understand it. I feel it too. Life is hard. Life is hard. And if you aren't careful, it will grind you down. And I talk about detachment a lot from a leadership perspective, and we talked about it today, and it's certainly important. But it's also a tool for your mind and for your sanity. Step back. Step back and look around. Not just to see what your next move is and where to head next and what to focus on, but step back to look around and see life. This life, your life, not surrounded by the pressure and the war and the failures and the violence and the nightmares and the mistakes and the grind. Not that life. But life as it is without our intervention. A blessing. A journey. A short little bit of time on an incredibly fast-moving sphere of amazement. Where if you can detach and step back and look for a moment, you'll see that, like Dick Winters said, everything seems so beautiful. And I think that's all I've got for tonight. So, Echo Charles.
Yeah.
Some lessons learned.
Yeah.
Very impactful for me and a big reminder for me. We worked heavily with the first of the 506 Band of Brothers in the Battle of Ramadi. We had the Delta Platoon commander and a group of his guys spent the whole time over there, and what an incredible bunch of soldiers they were. Just incredible. The impact that they had on the battlefield, the leadership I saw at every level. And whenever I think of the Band of Brothers, my first thoughts when I think of the Band of Brothers isn't about Dick Winters. It isn't about the series. It isn't about the books. My first thought of the Band of Brothers is the 1st of 506 Battalion that we were honored to work with in the Battle of Ramadi, and one of my platoons worked intently with the entire time. And so for their service and sacrifice, I am eternally thankful for what they did and what they taught us, and for us being alongside them was real humbling. Real humbling.
Yeah. You mentioned how like in all these books and all these lessons that discipline is like so important. And there was a time you mentioned like imagine how important it is or how beneficial or whatever it could be just in everyday life. Remember that?
Yes.
So that's crazy. And the more books like this that we go over, whatever, that message like becomes more and more clear. Because you know how like you get like creative guys, you know, but they don't have discipline kind of thing. Or you get super disciplined guys, but they don't have creativity or, you know, kind of. But every once in a while you'll find a person or you'll notice a person who does bring them together, you know, and you see the results. Like you see what kind of productivity or you just see the results in one way or another, you know, like these get like fighters or, you know, I don't know, author, like anyone.
Absolutely.
So, man, it's crazy how. Because, you know, if you're like naturally gifted or whatever at something, you, in a way.
Not
like,
really. Cool. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, but I mean, let's say you notice someone and you see it in all these different fields as well where.
Oh, someone that's got a lot of natural talent.
Yeah.
But they don't.
They don't have because essentially through upbringing or whatever, just their environment, they don't need it really. You know, they don't need it like
just get away with it because it's just on their talent.
They get away with it. Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we hear that a lot. This idea that, you know, talent, it doesn't mean anything if you don't have the discipline to make things happen. And a person that's highly disciplined will outperform someone that might be more talented.
Yeah,
all day long. Yeah. All day long.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say it was all day long too strong. Because in the beginning.
In the beginning, I think, sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like eventually, the discipline is the thing that's just going to carry you through. So, and I just thought that was super important. Where you were like, imagine if you apply this to everyday life, because everyday life, essentially for us anyway, it's like a straight up luxury.
Yeah,
you know?
It is. And here's what's important about what you're saying is this fact that the reason that these guys had to have discipline was because if they didn't have discipline, they would die.
Yeah.
If they didn't have discipline, they would be overrun. If they didn't have discipline, they would starve. They would just die. They would die. Yeah. So they have to have discipline. Yeah. And your point is, in this world, in this life, in 2017, living in the first world, you don't have to have discipline at all.
Yeah.
And you'll still survive.
Yeah.
And you might even do okay.
Yeah, sure.
But just imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you applied the discipline to your life, where you'll end up.
Yeah.
And how much better off you'll be. Yeah. And how much more you can do with your life. The one life you have, by the way. Yeah, how much more you can do with that life if you just have the discipline and work hard and get after it.
Yeah. And you see it in little pockets too. Like, remember when you're a kid and you're like, I'm going to save my money for this, I don't know, comic book. I don't know. I'm going to save my money. You don't even have an income, by the way, but somehow you save all your money, like that little quarter that you find. That's like, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that because you have this kind of, and in a way, like the discipline kind of forms itself around that goal. So you know what it is. Like, you know what that means, you know? So it's real. Like, that's a real thing. You shouldn't regard it as some ambiguous thing that other people do.
Not.
Like,
it's not some fancy, crazy thing at all.
Yeah.
It's real, straightforward.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the first podcasts we did where I said something along the lines of like, you know what you need to do.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, we all know what we should be doing.
I think that was the first.
There's not too many people that are lost that are going, I'm just not sure how to do this. No, they know exactly what to do. We know exactly what to do. I know exactly what I should be doing.
I'll tell you what it is. It's distractions. There's too many distractions. And distractions are literally everything. There's industries of just distractions. That's the whole industry. Like
TV. It's a big industry of distraction.
Huge. And in the defense of TV, TV can be an you can because there's educational stuff on TV.
Defended.
I'm just saying, like,
I concede your point.
The entertainment industry, and I'm not saying these industries of distractions are bad things. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying distractions are what get in the way of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, like your goal.
Yeah, and Well, we're talking about the very fact of some of your discipline can be used to create things that are actually distracting. I mean, if your goal is to create some artistic piece, whether it's a movie, whether it's music, whether it's whatever, that's a distracting thing. But that doesn't mean that it's negative that you want to make that happen, because there's people that'll find something. I mean, the reason you want to create something is, I guess you create it for yourself, but then the reward is when other people say, yes, I get something out of that too.
Yeah. Recognition from your peers. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and when I say distractions, in regards to goal, it's a relative thing, meaning like you're distracted from your path of the goal.
I agree with you, yeah, but there's also just mentally, just weakness. Just the easy path, I should say.
Right.
The discipline path is hard. The easy path that anyone wants to jump on when your alarm clock goes off, blah, 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 right? I've talked about these things a million times. That's what the problem is. The problem isn't even a distraction. The problem is just the lack of will to do what you need to do.
Right.
Distraction can add to that. That's a part of it. What we do is we take our the path of least resistance, and then we throw distraction on top of that. For instance, when you open up your computer because you got to write a book, and instead of opening the word processor, you go, I'm just going to check the interwebs real quick.
Distracted.
Yeah, you're distracted. There goes 45 minutes. You ever notice? Seriously, the internet is a time warp.
Oh, yeah.
Your time just disappears in the internet.
There's a lot of distractions on there.
Yeah,
for sure. And really, what I mean by distraction is you have this long-term goal, right? Your goal is your payoff, your long-term payoff. So the distractions really are these little short-term payoffs that drag you, that distract you. So that's what the distraction is.
I like how you broke that out for me.
Right.
Distract.
Right.
Get
Exactly.
you off the track.
Exactly right. So the weakness will let those distractions kind of take hold, for sure. But so they work hand in hand for sure. So if you can, because again, that saving money for comic books thing, so consider that as the goal. So the distractions are going to be the candy that you want to buy, or I don't know, you play dice with your friend. I don't know, whatever the distractions is in regards to that specific path.
I like Echo's world right now. Like playing dice with your friends, saving for comic books. It's like 1956. I like it.
But either way, like the distractions, they're irrelevant. So when I say, okay, the distractions are there. When I say there's industries of distractions, again, I'm not saying those are bad things. They are bad things if they're distracting you from your goal. So you can have all kinds of goals.
If you think about it, sometimes you just need to let your mind take a rest.
Yeah, fully.
And you need one of those. I got something to say.
Football game. Yeah.
I just flew home from, like, I've been on the road all over the world. Did the muster, did a bunch of speeches, did some consulting, was all over the place, on the plane the whole time. And I flew home from the East Coast. When was that? A couple days ago. And when I flew, I haven't done this in forever. I flew home. I watched a movie.
Oh, yeah.
I just did a total distraction because I said, you know what? I can't. I'm not in the game right now. Like, I need, my brain just needs to shut off and do something, which I don't like to do, which is you can either do two things. I look at it, you can either consume or you can produce, right? Yeah. I want to be producing. I want to be putting together. I want to be writing. I want to be thinking. I want to be reading for the podcast, prepping. That's what I want to be doing. I want to be producing something. Consuming is I'm just absorbing what someone else made. Yeah. Right? I'm just going to absorb this. A lot of times it is garbage. So, but I flew home, had a long flight, and I was like, you know what? I need to check out. Right. I need to check out right now and just do nothing. Yeah. So I watched 2 movies.
Dig it.
Two movies.
What'd you watch?
We got to know. I knew you were going to ask. The 2 movies I watched. The first one was not Heartbreak Ridge. It's the new movie that just came out about DOS that Mel Gibson directed. What's it called?
I don't know.
This is a big, successful movie. Conscientious objector, World War II. He wins the Medal of Honor, or he's awarded the Medal of Honor. So that was a good movie. It's a World War II movie. I liked it. It's not, in my opinion, 5-star, but it was good. It was entertaining.
Sure.
It told the story. And then after that, I watched Zoolander. That was when I was going into full decompression mode.
Good on you, bro.
I watched Zoolander.
Yeah.
Because it's a hilarious movie. I have a buddy in the teams that we nicknamed Mugatu.
Sure.
Yeah, because, he would go crazy. So we had to call him Mugatu.
Yeah.
And, that was just a funny movie. I just decompressed. Yeah, and man. I don't do that very often.
Hey, dig it.
The grind is always happening. But I just had to take a little detachment. What was the name of that movie with There's not famous actors. I guess there's one. Who's the really funny guy? Anyways, it was a good movie.
Yeah. So technically, so the question is that really a distraction? So, like a football game or a movie or something that you're not doing to put you, more forward on your path or whatever. But if you're taking a break, is that a distraction? Like if I'm lifting, I do a workout and then I go recover from that workout by resting, is that a distraction?
No, it wasn't a distraction.
Right.
I should have grinded though.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I was done.
In your mind.
I was done.
So
I tapped out.
So a distraction is more of an idea, more the concept, So
there's definitely things that are distracting.
Just like how you said when you open your computer and the whole internet is there to distract you in one way or another.
Yeah.
That's a distraction, where you can, like, even if I have a book, if my goal is to finish some video, but meanwhile I have this book that's real informative and something, and I'm like, that book seems I'm real in the mood to read that book. That's a distraction, even though it's a good thing, So the distraction is like the idea. So, what are the common goals? I want to get in shape. I want to, be a better husband or wife, or I want to do better at work. I want to learn more. I want to read all this stuff.
Get better at jujitsu.
All this stuff. You can get distracted by these other things. Before I don't know, read, I'm going to surf Instagram or something like that. That's a distraction, And now, which was my original point, is the reason, or one of the reasons that we don't apply this extreme discipline as it's outlined in these books here is one of the reasons is because we have literally infinite amount of distractions right now.
Well, there's also no consequence, or I shouldn't say that. The consequence isn't visible.
Yeah.
The consequence, you don't say, hey, if I would have had discipline, I would reach this ultimate potential. You just okay with not reaching that ultimate potential, and you're okay with just like putting microwavable popcorn in and watching a movie.
Yeah. You've been doing it the whole time.
Yeah,
I'm still here.
Hey, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm good. And you know what? That was a good movie, and the popcorn tasted good.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the wrong answer.
Yeah.
You don't recognize what your potential is, and so you're just okay with this kind of half potential. You don't reach your potential, and since you don't know it. And the other thing it's hard to see how that long-term affects you.
Yeah.
It's just one bag of popcorn and it's just one movie.
Yeah.
But you did that 3 times this week.
Yeah.
That's not getting you
30
towards your goals.
times, in the past 10 weeks.
Yeah, you could write 30,000 words. No, more than that.
Yeah.
You can write about 1,000 words an hour.
Bro, a good way to look at it, and I think I might have said this before, where it's not like a moment-to-moment looking to the future kind of thing. You should look at it but in the sense of looking at it in the past. So let's say you consider the last 1 year or 2 years, right? And let's say I wanted to play better guitar or something.
Good goal.
Yeah.
I have that goal. I always fail at it.
There you go. So you look at it in this way, where you don't say, okay, if I spend an hour a day, practicing guitar in a year, I'll be better. You don't necessarily look like that. You can, but a good way to look at it, or a helpful way, is if you look at it last year, where, dang, if I would have played an hour a day right now, as I'm sitting here with you right now, that'd be dope at guitar, kind of like that. So you kind of get in my experience, I've kind of got this feeling of like wasted time, know that feeling where it's like, dang, I gotta play catch up now. That's a little bit more compelling. I think sometimes it can be.
Yeah.
So if you think about it that way too, I think that helps. I don't know. Maybe not.